We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Chesam at Aleph and Mesechet Shekalim. This is Shekalim Daf 18a. This Amud is sponsored by Scott Albert. It is in honor of Rachel Bas Bella. If you'd like to sponsor an Amud or a Daf, please see the description box below for details. Thank you for your sponsorship. Gemara now is in the middle of asking a question on the opinion of Rebbe Lozer Bei Rebbe Shimon. Rebbe Lozer Bei Rebbe Shimon said that the Shulchanas of Shlomo HaMelech made in the Beis HaMikdash, they ran from north to south, and the problem again was that it comes out according to that the Shulchan is in the south, it's supposed to be in the north. Similarly, the Gemara asks, Menorah b'tzafon. According to that logic, we can assume that the 10 menorahs that Shlomo HaMelech made also ran from north to south, and it's going to come out that the menorah is in the north then, because the menorahs are going to be lined up one next to the other, and they're supposed to be in the south, not the north. The Gemara continues with further proof that the Shulchanas and the menorahs did not run from north to south, but rather ran from east to west. As it says, Vatani, but it was taught, HaShulchan hayanasan mechatzi habayis v'lifnim. The Shulchan was placed from half the area of the Heichal and inward, meaning the Heichal itself, not counting the Kodesh Kadashim, meaning just the Kodesh, was 40 amos, and it was placed, the Shulchan was placed in the 20 amos that were closer to the Kodesh Kadashim. Moshach min hakosel beis amos umechza was also away from the wall 2.5 amos, klape at Safan, and again, it was towards the northern side of the Heichal, u'menorah kenegdo b'daram, and the menorah was opposite the Shulchan, in the southern side of the Heichal, and the Brisa continues, Mizbeach hazav hayanasan be'emtza habayis. The golden Mizbeach, the inner Mizbeach, was again in the middle of the area of the Heichal. Again, Heichal being 40 amos, this was in the 20 amos that was towards the Kodesh Kadashim. Cholek hasabayis mechetzio v'lifnim. It would divide this area in half. Again, it was basically at the 20 amma point. Moshach kima klape chutz, and it was a little more towards the outside, towards the entrance of the Beis HaMikdash, than the Shulchan and the Menorah. In other words, they were in the design basically of a segol. You had the Mizbeach Hazav right in the middle, by basically the 20 amma mark, right in the middle there, more towards the Kodesh Kadashim in the Beis HaMikdash, and then a little bit more towards the Kodesh Kadashim along the north and south sides was the Shulchan and the Menorah. V'chulon hayanason mishlish habayis v'lifnim. All of them were placed 1/3 of the way into the Beis HaMikdash. Now that 1/3 is because the Kodesh Kadashim was 20 amos long. So in total, counting the Kodesh Kadashim, was all 60 amos long, and these were all past the 20 amma mark. So they were all past 1/3 of the way. The point over here is that it clearly says in the Brisa that the Shulchan again was supposed to be in the Tzafon, in the northern area. The Menorah was supposed to be in the Darom, in the southern area, and therefore it cannot be that the Shulchanas and the Menorahs in the times of Shlomo went from north to south, because then they would have ended up going into the wrong area. You would have had Shulchanas that are going into the south, you would have had Menorahs that are going into the north, and that would be improper, and therefore the Gemara basically is rejecting this opinion and saying, no, in the times of Shlomo, certainly the Shulchanas and the Menorahs ran from east to west. And the Gemara continues, Eser Menoros Asa Shlomo. Shlomo made 10 Menoros in the Beis HaMikdash, as we just mentioned. And the Gemara here brings the pasuk Shenamar, like the pasuk says, Vayasus Menoros Hazov Eser Kamishpato, made 10 Menoros. Vayiten Behechal Hemi Yamin Vehemi Small. There were 5 placed on the right and 5 on the left. And the Gemara explains, in Tamar Chamish B'tzafon v'Chamish B'Darim. If you're going to say it means 5 in the north and 5 in the south, as we said before, V'halo Eina Menorah Kshera Ela B'Darim. The menorah is only kosher in the Darim, it's only kosher in the south. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, V'as HaMenorah Nochach HaShulchan Al Yerech HaMishkan Teimana. Again, it says the menorah is opposite the Shulchan, as we said, on the southern side. So Ma Talmud Lomar Chamish Miyamin V'Chamish Mismol. Therefore, what does the pasuk mean when it says 5 on the right and 5 on the left? And as we said before, by the Shulchanos, Ela Chamish Miyamin Menorasa Shal Moshe V'Chamish Mismola. What it means to say is 5 on the right side, on the right-hand side of the menorah, of the original menorah of Moshe Rabbeinu, and 5 on the left side. And the Gemara continues, nevertheless, Lo Haya Mavir Ela Shal Moshe Bilvad, according to the first opinion, the Tanna Kama, the Brisa, the only menorah that was actually lit was the menorah of Moshe. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, Menoras Hazav and Erosel Levar Bo'erev. So only that one menorah was lit. And then the Brisa brings an alternative view. Rabbi Yosef Bei Rabbi Yehuda Omer. Rabbi Yosef Bei Rabbi Yehuda says, Al Kulan Hayamavir, all the menorahs would be lit. Shenamar, like the pasuk says, Ve'as HaMenoros V'Neroseim Levaram Kemishpat Lifnei Hadavir Zav Sagar. So again, it says menorahs in plural. all of the menorahs were lit according to this view. And the Gemara continues quoting a pasuk in Divrei Hayamim. The pasuk says, "Va'perech va'neros va'malkachayim zav u'mechalos zav." Talking about the menorah, it says it was mechalos zav. What does it mean, mechalos zav? So the Gemara explains, "Shein kilu zahavo shel Shlomo." They changed the gears there to Shlomo. That when they made all these menorahs, it finished up all the gold that Shlomo HaMelech had. And the Gemara explains, Tani Rav Yehuda b'shem Asi. It was taught Rav Yehuda in the name of Asi as follows: Haya Shlomo notel elef kikare zav. What would happen is Shlomo HaMelech would take 1,000 kikar of zav, umachnisan lakor, he'd put it into the furnace, umotzion achu ma'amidan alechot. And then, by the time he finished purifying the gold and finishing the gold, it was only 1 kikar. That's the idea. He lost so many kikar in the purification process. That's why it finished off all the gold of Shlomo HaMelech. L'kayim mashenemar, this fulfills that which it says in the pasuk, Kikar zav tar, asa osa v'gomer. Again, this pasuk, the idea is that you need to have pure gold. They needed to purify it in this fashion. And the Gemara continues, Tanya, we learned in a Brayso, Rabbi Yossi Bei Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yossi Bei Rabbi Yehuda says, Maisa b'menorah zav she'asa Moshe b'midbar. Now they changed this gears as well to menorahs hamikdash. That's referring to the menorah in the base hamikdash. Shehaisa yiseira al hamenorah she'asa Moshe b'midbar. It was a little bit too big. This menorah that they were making in the mikdash, it was bigger than the one that Moshe Rabbeinu made. V'haisi yiseira dinar zav. It was bigger by 1 dinar of zav, by 1 dinar of gold. So they had to make it a little smaller. V'chnisua l'kor shmonim, and they put it into the furnace 80 times. Shmonim pam 80 times. And it says v'lo chasra klum. It didn't get any smaller. So Gemara says, is that possible? V'yois, is that really true? Adelo yakom al brare have a chaser. So the Gemara answers, before you completely finish making the gold, if you then put it in the furnace, it actually will diminish. Have a chaser sagin mindukayim al brare. But once you actually finish making it fully, once you do that, so then lo chaser klum, then it's not going to lose anything. Again, the text is adelo yakom al brare have a chaser sagin. Then it's going to lose a lot. Have a chaser sagin means it's going to lose a lot if you haven't finished making it. But then again, mindikayim al brare, once it's already been finished, so then lo chaser klum, it's not going to lose anything. The Gemara continues with the Mishnah, Shlosha asar shofaros hayav mikdash. Again, there were 13 shofaros in the Beis HaMikdash. This is where they collected the money for various items that needed to be brought in the Beis HaMikdash. The chasav alei, and it was written on them the names as follows. One was tiklin chadatin, that means the new shekels. These are the shekels that they had for the coming year. V'tiklin atikin, these are the old shekels. That's the shekels that were collected for the previous year. Kinin will be explained in the Gemara. V'gozale ola, gozale ola as well will be explained as we continue. Eitzim, the next one said Eitzim. This refers to somebody who donates wood for the ma'aracha, for the mizbeach. So you put some money into the shofar that says Eitzim, and they use that money to buy the wood. The other one, the next one said Levona. Again, Levona is somebody who donates Levona. He gives a little bit of money, and they use that to purchase the Levona for the Beis HaMikdash, the frankincense for the Beis HaMikdash. Zav lekapores, you put some money into that particular shofar, and that was made for the gold that was used as plating in the Kodesh Kadashim. That's what they used for that. Or they use that just gold for klishares. That's also called kapores. Various possibilities. Shisha l'nedava. Mishnah continues, there were 6 shofaras that were for olas nedava. Again, let's say you have a situation where you want to donate either olos for the kayetz hamizbeach. In the summertime, they wanted to always have the mizbeach. It shouldn't be bottle. Again, that's what these 6 shofaras were for that. And the Mishnah now explains the various items. Tiklin chadatin. What does it mean, tiklin chadatin? Shebechol shana v'shana. That refers to the shkalim chadashim, the new shkalim of every single year. And the Mishnah continues, v'atikin. What's v'atikin? Misha lohe v'yashtakit. Somebody who didn't bring the machatzis hashekel in the last year, the year before. Shokel l'shana haba. So then he puts it into this. This is for this coming year. The idea over here is when they brought the shekels that should have been brought the year before, and now they're bringing it a year late. So from that money, they would not bring karbanos tzibor, because those have to come from the trumas halishka from this particular year. Rather, whatever would come again from the previous year that would come in late, that would go to what was called the shiyare halishka, and they did various tzarchei hamikdash that was described earlier in Perek Daled Mishnah Beis, what they did with those particular shkalim. And the Mishnah continues, kinin hein torin. Kinin refers to torin. Those are the adult birds that are brought as karbanos to the Beis HaMikdash. The gozalayola, the shofar that said gozalayola, hein b'nei Yona, that refers to the younger birds that are brought as karbanos to the Beis HaMikdash. And the Mishnah continues, Kulan olos divrei Rabbi Yehuda. According to Rabbi Yehuda, all these shofaros were olos. What that means to say is these were all for nidava. These were birds that are brought for karbanos that are nidava. Any kinei chova, those were not put into shofaros according to Rabbi Yehuda. That money was given directly to the Kohen. The Chachamim say no. Kinin echad chatos v'echad ola. On the contrary, kinin is specifically for the kinei chova. When you bring one chatos and one ola, that's what the word kinin meant on the shofaros. And gozalei ola, the shofar which said gozalei ola kulan olos. That one, those were all olos. Those were all for nedavas, for donations. And the Mishnah continues, Harei olai eitzim. Let's say somebody takes upon himself to donate wood to the Beis HaMikdash. Lo yifchos mishnei gezir. He shouldn't give less than 2 large pieces of wood. Lavona, let's say somebody takes upon himself to donate lavona, frankincense, to the Beis HaMikdash. Lo yifchos mikometz, shouldn't give less than a kometz, a fistful. Zav, if somebody takes upon himself to donate gold to the Beis HaMikdash, lo yifchos mi dinor zav, he shouldn't give less than a dinar of zav. And the Mishnah continues, Shisha l'nedava. Again, the Mishnah said before there were 6 shofaros that were for nedava, that were for donations. Nedava ma hayuosin ba. What did they do with the nedava? As we said before, lochim ba olos, they would buy for that with that carbon olos. Habasar l'Hashem, all the meat would go to Hashem like a carbon ola, would all be burned on the mizbeach. Va'oros lekohanim, and the hides of those karbonos would go to the kohanim. And the Mishnah continues with a medrash that supports this idea. Zeh medrash darash Yehoyada Kohen Gadol. This was a medrash that was darshan by Yehoyada, the Kohen Gadol. Yehoyada, the Kohen Gadol, he served as Kohen Gadol during the times of Yehoash HaMelech. The pasuk says, Asham hu Asham Hasham LaHashem. It says it's an Asham, and it says it's for Hashem. So the question is it like an Asham, meaning does the basar go to the Kohanim, or is it all Hashem, like a carbon ola? So he darshaned as follows, Zehaklal, here's the rule. Let's say you have any extra money. You originally separated money for a carbon asham or a carbon chatas, and you had extra money. What do you do with that money? That goes linadava yilkach ben olos. That goes to purchase olos. Habasar lashem, and the meat goes to Hashem like a carbon ola. That's the idea. Asham lashem. Va'oros lekohanim, but some of it does go to the kohanim, and that refers to the hides. The hide goes to the kohanim. Nimtzu shnei chsuvin kayamin. Therefore, we can understand both parts of the pasuk. Asham lashem v'yasham lakohen. Part of it goes again Lashem, part of it goes to the Kohen, and the Gemara continues and quotes a pasuk in Malachim to this effect. V'yomer, the pasuk says, Kesef Asham v'kesef chatos lo yuva beis Hashem la kohanim yiyu. The money of the carbon asham, the money of the carbon chatos should go to the kohanim. It shouldn't go to the beis Hashem. The idea here is it shouldn't go to bedek habayis. Rather, it goes to kohanim, meaning you use the money for carbon ola, and the hides will go to the kohanim. And we had in the Mishnah again, there was a machlokus whether any of the shofaros for the bird karbanos, are they for kinei chova, or are the shofaros only for nedava? So the Gemara now brings a brisa that elaborates on this machlokus. Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Amar Rabbi Yehuda said, Lo haya shofar shel kinin b'Yerushalayim. There was no shofar of kinim, meaning of kinei chova in Yerushalayim, mivnei ha'ta'aruves, because they had a concern that things might get mixed up. What's the concern? Shema Thomas achas v'nimtzu d'mei chatos mesos mu'ravos behen. The issue is as follows. If you have a bunch of money given, donated by different women, let's say, who are chayiv to bring various kinei chova, what if one of those women dies? So now you have money that's mixed up, some for women who are alive and some for women who are not alive anymore. And the problem is that the halacha is if you separate money for a carbon chatas and the owner of that carbon chatas dies, that money is really supposed to go liyam hamelach. So now you have a real problem here if all that money gets mixed up. And that's why Rabbi Yehuda said we did not use shofaras to collect the money for kinei chova. And the Gemara continues, V'atanya, and we learned in a brisa. The Gemara here is asking a question. Brisa says, "So isha sha'amra harei olai kan." Let's say a woman says, "I am going to donate, or not. I'm going to donate. I'm going to give a kan of torim or b'nei Yona because I gave birth, because of ziva, because of some issue." So mevia dmei kan, she brings the money, v'nos nasa b'shofar, and she puts it into the shofar. And we'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Yud Ches Amud Beis.